Welcome in, Dween Nation. We are the Dween Sports Podcast, and we are just about to get started. But before we do, we'd love if you could like, comment, subscribe, and share so we can continue to be your fantasy sports podcast. Thanks for being part of Dween Nation, and enjoy the show. Welcome in, Dween Nation. This is your host, Justin Pies, alongside Genoa Agudelo, and not one, not two, but three guests once again. This time, Cooper Griffin returns. Welcome, Cooper. Victor Paez is back. Welcome. Good to see you again. And we got a new guest, Parker Jarrow. Welcome to the pod. How are you feeling, man?
I'm excited, man. I'm getting the fantasy itch. About this time every summer, I'm just like ready to actually get these drafts going. So I'm looking forward to this little mock draft for sure.
I'm definitely excited and glad you're on. I completely agree. The fantasy itch it's well in effect. It's been in effect, I feel like, for at least a couple months now.
For sure.
And now as it gets closer, it gets even worse.
Yeah.
You could argue it's a good thing. I'm just excited, extra excited. Cooper, how are you doing though for this mock?
I'm doing good. I'm excited. Man, fantasy football season's getting closer and closer. Just can't wait for it to start.
Pops, how are you feeling being back again?
I'm feeling great. I want to do a mock draft every day if I can. I love it.
Yes.
It just prepares you for the real thing, and it does work.
I completely agree. Doing it from different spots, trying different strategies, very important and impactful. But before we start, also, how you doing, Genoa?
Yo, Dewey Nation, Justin, and everybody else. I'm doing great. We're like a month and like some change, a week away from our drafts. I'm very excited. This time next month, though, there'll be millions and millions of leagues drafted. So it's getting closer than we think, guys. And so this is going to be a great 2025 season. I'm so excited to do a mock.
Yes, and this mock is going to be so impactful, not only for us doing it, but Dween Nation, you guys got to check into this. This is a 12-team mock, so a little different than we've done the last couple of weeks. Also have PPR as usual, and I think we spread out pretty well amongst each other for this draft. We got Parker at 3, me at 5, Cooper is at 8, and then Genoa at 11, and my dad at 12. They're going to be sniping each other back and forth in this draft. That'll be very exciting. I hope Parker doesn't steal any picks from me. I'm sure he will. Same goes for Cooper. Yeah, mock drafts are super exciting here, and I think, Parker, you're at a very important spot here with the third pick. I'm curious to see where you go because I know there's a consensus 1 and 2 as of right now. So I'll let you roll with it. What do you got?
Yeah, this is super easy pick for me. The player I'm going to take is, like, if I had the number 1 pick, I think I would take this guy, and that's Justin Jefferson. I just think that he's the best receiver in football, and I think he's at the point now where no matter who's playing quarterback, I'm pretty confident he's going to get his targets and put up numbers. So easy pick.
I love to hear that, and I'm actually curious then, if you are high on Jefferson, which, that's great at third pick, you argue he could be first. I'm assuming you really like J.J. McCarthy this year. What are your outlook on him?
Yeah, I do like him, and I think the reason behind that for me is I'm not, I don't think J.J. McCarthy is this like crazy talent. I think he's a good football player, but it's the fact that Kevin McConnell is there, and that he's the quarterback whisperer at this point. And he's going to figure out ways to scheme different things to best fit McCarthy and best fit make an offense that is going to be putting up points. So I think, and no matter what, he's gonna scheme that around getting Justin Jefferson, their best player of the football. So that's why it's an easy pick there for me.
Well, even though he hadn't played an NFL game, he has to be better than Sam Darnold. And Sam Darnold was pretty good with this team. So
yeah, like I said, if Kevin McConnell is coaching, I'm not too worried about Justin Jefferson getting his targets. I think he's going to find a way to make that happen and find a way to at least put the quarterback in a position to do well.
And I would like to also throw in there that the news this week of Jordan Addison agreeing to a plea deal on his DUI, he probably will miss a couple games.
Yeah.
That could change the course of his season and how J.J. McCarthy probably is going to rely on Jefferson more, even more than he would have with Jordan Addison there. So, okay.
Or Naylor.
Yeah, I don't know about Jalen Naylor, but sure. Moving to me here, I did last draft. I had the 3rd overall pick, and I went CeeDee Lamb, and now he is here at 5. And I do like how I picked Bijan, didn't I? I went 2nd. I picked Bijan.
Yeah, I see that.
In this draft, I want to go wide receiver first to test more of the waters and see how that goes. And so I am going to go CeeDee Lamb with the 5th overall pick. Dak returns fully healthy. George Pickens is added, which I think at the end of the day is only going to help CeeDee Lamb. avoid double teams and whatnot. And I think this offense is going to improve, especially with trying to keep up with Jaden Daniels as well as Jalen Hurts. So I'm going CeeDee Lamb there.
All right, for this pick, for me, I'm eyeing receiver right now. With me, the first round pick, I like picking guys safe. I know I'm gonna get out of him, so I'm gonna pick St. Brown.
Ooh, okay.
And the reason for that is I like Malik Neighbors a lot. I think he's more talented receiver than St. Brown, but with the QB situation in New York, in my opinion, you're going to see all three QBs start and play throughout the year, and Neighbors will be the guy to go for each one of them. But I really get St. Brown, who has a steady QB in Jared Goff, and now the Detroit offense, even though they're stacked, they're going to force the ball to St. Brown.
Yeah, and Cooper, I'm curious with the pick of St. Brown, which I do really like. He's been, I think, a top 3 to 4 wide receiver the last 2 seasons. How much do you value safety over upside in the first round, or at least early rounds in your draft?
For me, first couple rounds, I just want a guy that I know I'm going to get out of him. Later on the round, like 4 through 7, that's when you take a guy that well, maybe a little more of a risk that could end up being a top 10 player. But in first round, I just want a guy that I know I'm going to get out of him. And St. Brown's been as consistent as any receiver has been the last couple of years.
All right, well, for me, I made a TikTok about him this week, and Cooper just kind of mentioned him, so I'm definitely going to go with Malik Neighbors. I love what I'm seeing out of the I wouldn't say out of the Giants, but I say just like as an offense, I think that they can, I mean, not win games, but definitely win you fantasy games. And what I mean is that I think they're going to be in a lot of situations where they're down 10, 15 games. And I think that whoever is their quarterback, they're going to be throwing a lot, which means, Malik Neighbors, and then the Titans there that they got. So I really like the Giants in some ways. And I think Neighbors is going to have a fantastic season just because they're going to be playing a lot from behind. So give me Malik Neighbors there with my first pick.
Yes, I agree with that. That's a good pick. And it's the same with Nico Collins. They didn't improve the offensive line there in Houston Texans. So I'm going to go with Nico Collins for my first pick. And of course, my second kid, he is a dinosaur, but I'm going to pick my running back. He's going to still get over 1,000 yards and double-digit touchdowns, and that's Derrick Henry for sure.
Right, well, then that makes it easier and pair 2 former LSU products together. So let me go ahead and get Brian Thomas Jr. I'm a little concerned with the running backs. This is a 12-man league, but I'm confident that in the next 15 some plus picks that I can find something. But for now, let's pair these 2 former LSU standouts together.
How about 20-something picks, not 15?
Yeah.
For me, that makes the pick easy for me. I do like Drake London this year, but I'm gonna get A-Chain.
Oh yeah.
That Miami offense, in my opinion, they're gonna have a down year overall. They're going to be playing from behind, and they love throwing those little dump down passes. A-Chain, and I still think A-Chain, if he can stay healthy, he's gonna have another great year like he did last year.
You totally sniped me there because I was definitely going to go Devon Achane if I had the chance. With the receiving upside is phenomenal. They trade away Jonnu Smith, and I think that only helps Devon Achane because those intermediate targets, those short passes, are going to go to Achane now. So that was a great pick. Now looking at my pick here, my favorite player on the board is currently Drake London. I don't love starting my draft without those 2 running backs, especially as Jano was mentioning, it's 12 teams, so it's going to get a little bit more scarce. But I think early on in the draft, you got to go best player available, and that's why I'm going to go Drake London here.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think if this was 10-man, I would probably pick AJ Brown right here. But I want to just go ahead and take Kyron Williams. And, I like Kyron Williams, that he had a good season. And I just want to go ahead and secure a guy I feel really comfortable with at running back because when this turns back to me here in a minute, I still think there will be plenty of good receivers. And so that's why I'm going to take Kyron Williams here. And then now, like I said, I still love the wide receivers available.
Oh yeah.
And, I'm a big Njigba guy. He won me a couple of leagues last year, but I still think this is maybe just a little bit too high for him. And so, I'm gonna just draft Tyreek Hill here because I still think at the end of the day, I know it's kind of a weird season for Tyreek Hill last year, but at the end of the day, he has potential to have 50 points in a fantasy game. There's not many guys that you can say actually do that quite like Tyreek Hill. So I took Tyreek Hill.
Third round is not bad though for Tyreek Hill. That's considered a steal in my opinion. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and I think that last year actually, I mean, obviously the offense kind of hit a dry spell and it was just kind of ugly, but the defense was actually pretty solid last year. They were getting some big stops, and now you go into this year, they lost like almost their entire secondary. They bring in Minka Fitzpatrick, who's a little past his prime. I think they're gonna be passing the ball a lot more this year. And they lose Jonnu Smith, so more targets available.
Yeah, I mean, real quick, the way I look at Tyreek Hill, it's like just last season he was being drafted third, fourth overall. Maybe he's not quite worthy of that spot anymore, but to me, he's still better than a third round pick. That's
Yeah.
No, that's a good pick. And as long as Tua stays healthy, you're going to have 1,000 yards,
yeah,
double-digit touchdowns.
yeah, for sure.
That's the thing with Tua. Like, as long as Tyreek Hill is available, Tua's going to force feed the ball at Tyreek.
Yeah,
What about Zach Wilson though? That might be bad. That might be bad. Anytime.
yeah.
Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
All right, we're back to me here. And I thought for a second you might go running back and take Chase Brown, who's my favorite guy on the board. You didn't do it, so I'm happy, even though I do really like your pick, because I think it would have forced me to go Ladd, even though Ladd also got taken right before me. So I am going to go Chase Brown here and I secure my RB1. I'm confident that he is going to be a solid piece. I don't know if he has the upside to be a top 3 to 5 back, but I think he will for sure be a top 10 to 12 back by the end of the season.
That's a really good pick.
They have a good team.
Play high on Chase Brown this year. With this pick, I think it's really between Higgins and Smith Najibba. I'll go with Jackson Smith. I think he had a really good year last year in his second year, and I think this year, Sam Darnold. I don't know if Sam Darnold is going to be as good as he was last year in that Viking system, but I think with DK Metcalf gone, even though they brought Cooper Kupp in, I think Cooper Kupp's going to be the secondary receiver in that group, and I think they're really going to try to get more involved with Smith, and he's going to have a better year than next year or last year.
And I actually really like how you're building your team thus far, because all three guys are huge volume plays. They get a ton of receptions, a ton of touches, so you know they have a very high floor, and then some of them also have a very high ceiling.
And he's the number one receiver on the team now. So.
Yeah, so much, open targets.
That's the only reason I didn't take Higgins, is because he's not the number one receiver on the team. Even though I think Higgins, last year he had a great year when he was healthy. Big thing Higgins, if he can stay healthy, but right. I'm taking Smith because he is the number one receiver on that team.
For me, I'm going to go ahead. Obviously, I need a running back. So let's just get the kind of the best available as I see here. I'm going to go with Kenneth Walker. I just kind of saw that their new offensive coordinator is Clint Kubiak, and Rick Dennison is their run coordinator. And I'm a Texans fan, so I'm familiar with the Kubiaks and Rick Dennison there. We had some good years with Arian Foster. Obviously Clint Kubiak was there with his father. Gary Kubiak was there. And so I like the running game there in Seattle. And I need a running back, so I'm going to go ahead and take that before I pick any picks.
That's good. That's a good pick. Very good pick, because I'm looking for a running back too. But y'all think I'm going to pick T. Higgins. I'm not picking T. Higgins. He's the second. He does get hurt a lot too. I'm not picking Garrett Wilson. And you know me, I'm not going to pick a tight end in the first 4 rounds. I'm picking my man and another dinosaur, Mike Evans. He will do another 1,000 yards, and he will get double-digit touchdowns. Trust me. And he's from A&M, so that's another. Oh, myself too. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm back again. And I don't want to pick another dinosaur, man. But you have to, because he's going to get all the catches, a lot of the catches. He might even surpass, what's his name? And I'm going to pick Alvin Kamara. I just got to. He's going to get over 100 touches. Combined. So he's going to get a lot of touches here.
All right, for me here.
100 receptions, excuse me.
I would say for me here, it's so easy to get another running back because I'm going to need it. But I'm sorry. I think I really like Garrett Wilson right now here in the 4th round with his former college QB, Justin Fields, throwing him the ball. And so I think I like my 3 wide receivers here. I think I'm good for the next 5 or 6 rounds. And I'm confident I can find me a hidden gem there at the RB position there later on.
Yeah, I'm in kind of tough spot because I was just going to take T. Higgins there if he kept on falling. Right now, I'm not a big fan of Devontae Adams this year. Devontae Adams, he's a star, but I'm just a little shaky on him joining the new team with Puka rising. Rashee Rice, no, because we don't know what the suspension is going to be and how long. With me, it's between Marvin Harrison Jr. and then Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon had a good year last year before he got hurt, but I'm going to take Marvin Harrison. And the reason for that is because he was supposed to be better than he was last year. He had a good rookie year, but not as good as people thought he was going to have. This offseason, he got a lot stronger, gained, I think, 10, 15 pounds of muscle is what I heard. And I think this year, second year, I think he's going to be more involved in the offense. And then since he is stronger, he's going to be more of a red zone threat, in my opinion.
Yeah, I expect a big jump from Marvin Harrison. I was looking into him a couple weeks ago and how the Cardinals, for some reason, didn't draw up a lot of plays that were like plays for Marvin Harrison. He just got himself open for a lot of plays. And I think they should fix their ways heading into this year. And then with the other guy you were also talking about, I'm actually curious. I want to throw the question to our new guest here with Parker. Rashee Rice, big news, obviously, with the whole suspension looming and the sentencing that he had. I'm curious, as hearing this news, obviously Fantasy Pros hasn't updated it, but where do you have him now kind of statted at, or where do you expect, like, it with a suspension, where would you draft him?
Yeah, I think it's funny because I think we're kind of like at the point. Like I think that's a good spot still. Just because I did, and again, this could be wrong. We never know like what the NFL is going to do. But I saw NFL reporter say that he thinks it'll only be maybe 2 or 3 games. And so I mean, if you're only missing a few, I think the ceiling that Rashee Rice has, the potential he flashed in the few games he was able to play before getting hurt, I think like a fourth, fifth round pick is still worth the price. But that's me just, like I said, that's me just expecting it's only going to be 2 or 3 games. If they come out and end up saying 5 or 6, then obviously I think the draft spot drops a little bit. But I think this is a good spot, assuming it's a light suspension for Rashee Rice.
I think you bring up a really solid point. I feel like a lot of people hear suspension, and even if it's 2 games, they're going to panic, and he's probably going to drop, I would say, a couple of rounds with any suspension. Obviously,
Yeah.
the bigger the suspension, the more he'll drop, but maybe it's worth the 2 weeks missed or 3 weeks missed for the value he's going to bring you. So I think that's an interesting take.
Yeah. I mean, I'm curious to see what happens with that, though, just because, that guy can say whatever, like, oh, I'm hearing it's only going to be this, and then they could come out and say it's 5 games or something. Who knows? So.
True. Only time will tell. Hopefully, I'm assuming we will, but hopefully we get that before most of y'all draft. We'll get all the information around that. That'd be great. All right, for me here, looking at my draft board, I have London, I have CeeDee Lamb, and I have Chase Brown. I kind of want to go to the running back even though I do like Devontae Adams here. But I do also like guys like Chuba Hubbard, James Conner. Joe Mixon is even in that conversation, as well as Omarion Hampton, who I expect to be a player, though, who will probably be a league winner. And I know that's like a wow for Omarion Hampton, but I do think he will start the year somewhat slowly, with Najee being the veteran, a guy who hasn't missed a game in his NFL career. And a lot of people are like, comparing Hampton to Dobbins, and the fact that Dobbins broke out with the Chargers last year, but that was because Gus Edwards got hurt in the first couple of weeks, and then Dobbins really took off. I don't see Najee missing any time based on his track record, so I'm not going to go Hampton here. With Mixon, I think the introduction of Chubb is doesn't change too much for me, but I think the offensive line got a little worse this offseason, and I think that they might, with the new offensive scheme, I don't see that same production he did last year. And then we get it down to Chuba and James Conner, who I do really like Chuba this year. I think he had a breakout season that I did not expect, but the fact that he was a little older in his breakout compared to other, normal breakout running backs is a little questionable. But then you have James Conner, who has played, I think, 7 seasons in the NFL and has never finished a season, even though he balls out when he's on the field. I'm really giving me good stuff and the bad stuff, but I think I'm going to go with Chuba Hubbard here as my running back.
Good pick.
To do that, yeah.
For me, I'm going to use kind of the same logic I used on Tyreek Hill a little bit and pick Devontae Adams. I look at last season, I still think he was really good last season if you consider that the 2 teams he played for were awful and, bad situations for a fantasy wide receiver. Now he's not only is he in a better situation, he's playing with maybe a top 6 or 7 quarterback for Sean McVay, who is one of the best offensive minds in the NFL. And the Rams obviously spent free agent money to get Devontae Adams. They want to use him. And I mean, I still think he was good last season. So I'm just going to take Devontae Adams because I still think he's one of the best receivers in football.
That's a good spot, too. That's a good,
yeah. And then now, okay, so yeah, I keep forgetting this just spins back to me right away. Well, I was hoping that Hampton was going to be there, because I agree with everything you said about him, Justin. I think he could definitely win some leagues, but might start slow a little bit. I'm just going to go the safe route here and pick David Montgomery. I need another running back, and I just think he always finds a way to put up points. A lot of times that is off touchdowns. But at the end of the day, he just finds a way to get things done. And, I do like DeAndre Swift, especially now that he's getting to play for Ben Johnson. But I think David Montgomery is, even though he's technically kind of considered an RB2 for the Lions behind Gibbs, I still think Montgomery always finds a way to contribute.
I like that. I like that. For me here, I've gotten 2 and 2 of each, and I don't like any of the remaining tight ends to take here or quarterbacks. I feel like those tiers have now passed. So I'm not looking at tight end or quarterback. And since I'm split, I kind of want to look at who I think could be my flex option. And there's a safe pick that I do like in Cortland Sutton. I think he is going to be really solid. There's an upside wide receiver I'm a fan of, and that is Xavier Worthy, especially with this Rashee Rice news. But then there's also running back who I'm actually really high on in Trevion Henderson, who I could see a breakout similar to Hampton's where it might start slower, but I think he will for sure take over that backfield because Stevenson, fumbling issues and whatnot. I think that Henderson's in line to become the lead back, and he's super explosive. That makes me want to take him, man. And then there's also DeAndre Swift that you mentioned, who I think, no other real running back threats have joined the team. He has the history with Ben Johnson. Wow, this is tough here, fellas. And I do like Sutton a lot too because it's his touchdown usage. But I think I'm going to go with the upside play here, and that is Trevion Henderson. Big expectations for him heading into this season.
All right, I'm up now. And then there's one running back I've been eyeing on. I do like Caleb Johnson this year, and I think he will. I don't know right away, but I think he will end up being the lead back in Pittsburgh, and I do like him being in that Pittsburgh offense. But I'm going to pick Swift because I think Swift has a lot of upside. He's a veteran, but he's going to be in that Ben Johnson offense, in the Bears offense that is due to finally be at least a decent offense for once. And I think Swift is going to be a key part of that.
Yeah, Goop, you kind of sniped me there, but that's all good. I'm going to go with the guy that Justin's loved this offseason. I'm going to go with Brian Robinson Jr. there in Washington. I like him a lot as my second RB, and I pick in a couple picks, so I can probably snag one more.
Yes, I got sniped twice. I know, even though it's a 5th or 6th round. Aaron Jones is what I was looking for, and then you picked DeAndre Swift.
You love those dinosaurs, man. You love those dinosaurs looking for Aaron Jones.
Yeah, but still.
Yeah,
Okay, now that you put it that way, because it was between two players, I'm going to go and pick up a rookie running back with Caleb Johnson, and I think he's going to do more than people expect at the beginning because the other backs are not. They're more of a passing back, and he can't do a third down back. So Caleb Johnson's going to be the one I pick.
I'm curious, Dad, with what you said about Aaron Jones. You're somewhat high on him. But I know you're also high on Jordan Mason. How do you think that backfield's going to play out?
Well, at the beginning, Aaron Jones will have the majority of the carries, but I think goal line and short yardages is going to be Jordan Mason. So I think towards the mid-season, it's going to be 50-50 or Jordan Mason's going to take over.
Yeah.
Because Aaron Jones is injury-prone. I think Jordan Mason will take over here in the future. Okay, on my next pick, since I got 3 running backs, 2 wide receivers, I'm not looking for a tight end or a quarterback. I'm going to go with the receiver and some that has upside. I don't like Worthy. I don't like Zay Flowers. Devontae Smith I do like, and I think he's the next one up board. I'm going to go ahead and pick up Devontae Smith.
Good pick.
So for me, it's down to 2 running backs. It's Tony Pollard and Isaiah Pacheco. Both running backs I'm really high on. I really like what I saw at Tony Pollard's first year in Tennessee as they went on to get the worst record in the league and the first pick. You know what? I do like Pacheco this year, but I just think that the Chiefs, they have so many different ways to score with Patrick Mahomes there. So let's go with Tony Pollard as my third RB. I'm feeling really good about it. Maybe they're going to need to run the football to help Cam Ward and this Titans offense win a couple games and maybe make a run for the division. So I like Tony Pollard.
Yeah, with me, I'm deciding between 2 people. I really like Calvin Ridley this year.
Yeah.
Because he has a much better QB this year, I think, in Malik where his name is.
Cam Ward.
Yeah, Cam Ward. But I'm going to get Pacheco.
All right. For me here, They take RJ Harvey, who I was thinking of taking another upside swing on him, but he is taken. So now it brings me two wide receivers who I just mentioned in Xavier Worthy, but also Jamison Williams. And actually, I know I've been throwing a lot of players in it, but there's actually a player I think I like above all of them. A guy who's in a contract year, joined a new team. He was the alpha for a couple seasons, and he showed great potential, but had never had good quarterback play, in my opinion, and that is George Pickens. I'm going to go with him now joining the Dallas Cowboys. I think it's going to be an explosive offense, and I'll go with him here.
I think they both get 1,000 yards, over 1,000 yards.
Justin, I thought you were gonna take who I'm gonna take now, which is why I was kind of smiling, but I'm gonna
Yeah.
take Jamison Williams. I just think this is the year where he kind of goes from like the guy it's either like 20 points or 5 points. I feel like that's kind of been the story of Jamison Williams so far, but I think now we're gonna see more like consistency out of him. I just think he's at the point where he's shown that he deserves a little bit more involvement than just a go route every now and then and things like that. And I think this has the potential to be a pretty big season for Jameson. So I'm gonna take him.
Parker's four wide receivers are looking nice. I'm liking it.
Yeah.
Got some young and new, or old and new.
So I am gonna take a running back here. I think this is kind of where the draft hits an interesting spot with the running backs. I think once we get kind of in this field, it's where it's all a lot about just who kind of, finds the guy in these next few rounds. And for me, a guy that I like kind of in this area is Jaylen Warren, just because he's a little bit more experienced than some of the other Steelers backfield guys. And I think the Steelers are always going to be trying to win with Tomlin coaching. And I think, even though Jaylen Warren might be more of like your pass catching running back, he's still going to be involved. And I'm not drafting him here to be my starting running back or anything. So I'm just going to take an experienced running back who's shown he's a good player. That's why I'm going to take him.
Jaylen Warren off the board. And Dwayne Nation, honestly, I don't know if you checked this out, but I made somewhat of a mistake. I think George Pickens was the best player of the three, in my opinion, but I also do have CeeDee Lamb. So now I have double wide receivers, which, it might be a little tricky in the season. I won't suggest you to do that moving forward. But that also just means stay aware of who you have drafted and who, your opponents have drafted. But yeah, so we moved to me here, and I agree with a lot what you were saying, Parker. I think that this running back, spot in the draft hits a really solid, lull where I just don't want any of these guys. So I'm going to look at the wide receiver room again, and looking at some of these guys at the top of the board, I don't love them all. I think that they're solid. They're solid. Like Chris Godwin coming off the injury. Obviously, if he was fully healthy, I would be picking him in 2 seconds, but I think the injury is going to hurt him this year. And then Jalen Waddle, we haven't seen it in a little while, whether it was injuries or poor offensive play. So I'm not going to go him either. With Chris Olave, he's got a rookie quarterback who, spent 6 years in college. I don't love that either. And then we moved to essentially three guys I like. Jacoby Myers, who I've been really high on this offseason. Jordan Addison, who obviously was a touchdown monster last year. And then Rome Odunze, I think has some upside that a lot of people aren't talking about with how this Chicago offense could go. I think the Bears are actually one of the teams in the NFL, maybe the only team, them and I think Jacksonville, where if they're either to me going to be a boom team where they're one of the best offenses in the league, or they might start really slow and be a not as good as we expect them to be. But there's upside there because yes, DJ Moore is there, but Rome Odunze I think has a better connection with Caleb Williams. So I think I'm going to go with the upside swing there of Rome Odunze.
You don't have DJ Moore, right?
No, I don't.
I just joked.
All right, yeah, that was a good pick, Justin, because that's exactly what I was going to take.
Yeah, of course.
Here, I am eyeing a receiver, and there's two guys I'm looking at. I'm not a big fan of Olave this year. The same reason Justin said, because of the rookie QB. I don't like Jerry Jeudy because the Browns are just a mess, and I don't want to touch any Browns player this year. Jordan Addison's the guy that I'm looking at right here. News just came out about he's going to receive some type of suspension. Don't know how much, but I'm going to take, I'm going to take Jacoby Myers.
It's a good one. I like Jacoby Myers.
Besides Brock Bowers, he's going to be the number one receiver in Vegas. Not number one target, but I think Geno Smith is a massive upgrade to what they've been having the last couple of years. And I think Pete Carroll coming them too. I think is going to revamp that team, and Myers is going to be a big part of it, especially he's going to be the number one receiver. So
For me, yeah, this is where it gets kind of like in the twilight zone. I'm kind of thinking. I know. I just picked 2 running backs. I kind of want to pick one more, and I'm gonna go with the guy that I've been hearing a lot of that could break out this year. And I'm gonna go with Jordan Mason. I think that
Hey,
I just feel like I'm buying into the Jordan Mason hype. Obviously, we know a lot about Aaron Jones and his history. He's been getting hurt a lot. He is a dinosaur, and Jordan Mason was amazing last year, filling in for Christian McCaffrey in San Francisco, and so. It's somewhat the same system from Shanahan to Kevin O'Connell, and I love it. So I'm liking my 4 running backs here.
you took my first snipe. That's the guy I was looking for, and there you go. Why we had to talk about him. Okay, out of us 5 here, none of us 5 have a quarterback. I didn't want to be the first one, but looking at the play, and I love Dak Prescott this year. As long as he gets hurt, he gives you some numbers. But I'm going to try and go Bo Nix. I think he has a lot. He resurrected Sutton. I mean, Sutton, like before Nix came in, had awful years. And he came in and resurrected his career. And I love Bo Nix. So to pair Bo Nix, I'm going to pick up my first tight end with Evan Ingram. I like Evan Ingram.
Ooh, do a little stack action. I like it.
Okay, man. You know what? I think I'm going to go to quarterback too. Unfortunately, all my wide receivers are quarterbacks. No one really drafts them, so I don't have a stack there, unfortunately, unless I want to get
Russell Wilson.
or Justin Fields, which is not ideal. But let's see. Let me see. You know what? I think my uncle here kind of talked me into it. Let me go with Dak Prescott. I know Justin has 2 of his best receivers there with George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb. And I do like Jake Ferguson as a deep sleeper tight end. He gets a lot of receptions. Last year, he was really up and down, but it's because Dak got hurt at the end of the year, and then McCarthy was pretty much out the door. I mean, this year in this brand new offense, I think Ferguson's going to get a lot of targets, and that's going to help Dak Prescott. And sometimes the Cowboys, they do go down, and I'm not really excited about their week 1 matchup in Philly, but I feel like maybe Dak Prescott gets a couple garbage time points there week 1.
Like I told you, this year.
I'm also looking at quarterbacks, and if you know me, big Oklahoma fan, so I was looking at Kyler Murray just to have that connection with Marvin Harrison. But if Kyler Murray's gonna have a breakout year, he already had it by now. The last 3-4 years have been remotely the same. So I'm gonna pick a guy going to a new team. He's not the best quarterback, but you have the rushing upside. So I'm gonna pick Justin Fields.
Jay Fields. Yeah, and I posted this on a TikTok, but I'll just throw it in here. I think that Fields last year, nobody said like, "Oh man, what a great starts he had last year when he was at Pittsburgh." Well, in his 6 starts, he was literally the quarterback 6 in those games. That rushing upside is just unmatched. Besides, Jaden Daniels and Lamar Jackson, I don't think anybody else does it like Justin Fields in the rushing game. So I like that. For me here, you guys are tempting me to go quarterback, but I think I'm going to continue to wait on them. And I'm going to look at the running back room. I waited around, and now I think there's 2 guys that I feel the need to discuss here. One of them being Javonte Williams, who I feel like I draft just about every mock draft we've done thus far. I've been all over it, even though, yes, he played bad last year and was injured, the years before. Now he's on a new team, but I think being a part of the Dallas Cowboys rushing attack is always something of value, and especially where he's going. I did a stat earlier where, Javonte Williams Dallas Cowboys starting running backs have never finished outside the top 23 running backs, and Javonte's going in the 30s. So I think that he's got upside and is being drafted below his floor. I know he's got somewhat of competition with Miles Sanders and Jaden Blue, but to me, those aren't competitors I'm really scared about. So I'm going to go Javonte Williams here.
Okay. Kind of few guys I'm eyeing. I think I want to go receiver again, though, just in case, have a little bit of insurance in case, for one, maybe Tua gets hurt again and that kind of affects Tyreek, or maybe, Devontae Adams every now and then. He usually deals with some injuries. So I'm going to pick a receiver here to kind of help, me be prepared for that. And this guy, I feel like, at least at the start of last year, really looked like he was going to be like a league winner. Ended up slowing down a little bit, partly because of, just not being consistent, but also this team's quarterback got hurt for a little bit. But I'm going to go ahead and take Jaden Reed from Green Bay. I know they drafted Matthew Golden, but I just think Jaden Reed is a really talented guy. He's quick and he's easy to get the ball to, and I just think he's going to be. I think he has the chance to have a really good fantasy season.
Yeah.
And then coming off that, I think I'm going to go ahead and take a tight end here. And it was kind of a weird season for this guy last year. But Mark Andrews is still, talented, and Lamar Jackson is going to be a guy who loves throwing to his tight ends. So I'm going to take Mark Andrews.
I think that's really good value for Andrews,
It
a
is.
guy who was the tight end 5 last year.
Yeah.
Obviously, yeah, a lot of people are saying, it was a weird year and
Yeah.
he did drop the pass in the playoffs, and a lot of people are crapping on him. But honestly, after those 0-0 weeks where he didn't put up any points, he actually was like a top 3 tight end the rest of the season.
Yeah.
So he started balling out. So I like that. For me here, I'm gonna go to the receiver well, and there's actually a few guys I kind of like. I will wait right now. Ricky Pearsall might have been the guy I jumped on here, but he was put on the PUP this week. Dwayne Nation, if you're curious, and that doesn't mean he's going to miss time yet. He can always be taken off, but as we get closer to the year, I would pay attention to that. I thought he was fully healthy. That's not the case, so I'm going to go with the other guy, and that is Deebo Samuel, especially with the Terry McLaurin contract issues. Yeah, we don't know where he's at with that, and if or when he will be back on the field for the Commanders, and that would make Deebo the number 1 guy. And also a guy, obviously, he was bad last year. Yes, we saw that. But he is looking like he's gotten in good shape the last couple of weeks that have been post. So I'm pretty high on Deebo right now.
That's a good pick. I was going to take Cooper Kupp, but he just got taken. I am eyeing another receiver, and I'm going to take a guy. I'm going to take a guy that I'm going to take the risk. I'm going to take Golden.
Ooh, Matthew
That's a
Golden.
good pick. That's the one.
Golden's one of those guys that, he was a first round pick for a reason, And I think once you get into this round of the draft, if you can find a safe guy, like my opinion, like Cooper Kupp, you should take him because you know you're gonna get from him. But Golden is one of those guys, boom or bust pick, but he could easily have a breakout year in a Packers offense that's just looking for who's actually going to establish himself as that wide receiver 1, like it's been in the last couple of years. I think Golden could be the guy.
Nice. For me, I'm going to go with, I need a wide receiver. It's been a while since I picked. I think it's like the 4th round since I picked a wide receiver. I'm going to pick a guy who plays with the current MVP. I'm going to go with Khalil Shakir.
Another snipe. That's ridiculous. That was a good pick. I was going to pick that. Okay. I'm going receiver 2. I really don't like Pittman. They're saying Josh Downs right now should do better. The quarterback situation is no good. I'm looking down the roster. There's nothing. I'm going to have to go with the best wide receiver, and that's Josh Downs for on the list. And then I'm going the opposite way, and I'm going to go a running back. And I'm going to pick one of the 2 backups for 2 players that always get hurt, and that's McCaffrey and Connor. So I don't know which one I should pick. I'm going to go with Garindo just in case, because he's going to get a lot more touches than Vincent, I think.
I need a tight end. It's about time. Let's go with David Njoku. I just think that he could just be one of those players that have a good year on a really bad team. And so I like him. Maybe I can grab another tight end before this draft is over.
He might lead in receptions. I'm telling you, I love Njoku.
Yeah, that I think he's the last one in this tier of tight ends, and now it's going to take another drop off, which is probably telling me that I'm probably going to have to wait a little longer.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately.
All right. I'm looking at receivers to get my 5th receiver, but none of them really call my name at this point. So I'm going to look at running back, and I like Trey Benson just in the fact that James Conner, like you said earlier, Justin, has never had a healthy year. But I'm going to take a guy that I think is a little more, if he does start, I know what more I'm getting from him. That's Austin Eckler. Even though he's getting up there in age, he's a dinosaur. If he gets the opportunity, he's going to be good.
I like it. For me here, I don't like the running backs here. I don't think I'm going to jump on the running back wagon. We look at the wide receivers. I don't feel like I need them, even though there is a guy I kind of like. So I'm going to look at the quarterback room. Do I think I can wait a little longer for a guy? You know what? I think I am going to try waiting even longer. And I'm going to go with a guy who I think he broke out a little bit last year and then he fell off a little bit. But in discussions about the Packers and how they don't have a clear number 1 target, This guy could become that and be a reliable piece for Jordan Love. So I'm going to go Tucker Kraft.
Good pick. I almost got him.
Okay, so I have not drafted a quarterback yet. I'm gonna go ahead and do that now. And for me, I think this is a very popular take among fantasy players, but I think it's a popular take for a good reason. And I think that Caleb Williams is gonna have an awesome season.
Yeah.
Ben Johnson is just elite offensive mind. But the thing about Caleb Williams for me is that I think a lot of casual fans thought Caleb Williams did not have a good rookie season. But if you consider the situation, horrible offensive line, Eberflus is the head coach, and you look at what Caleb Williams did in those circumstances, threw for 3,500 yards and only threw 6 interceptions. I mean, to me, that's still a great rookie season if you consider the circumstances he was having to play with. And he got more weapons this offseason and got a huge upgrade and head coach. And so I think Caleb Williams, and I just think he's one of the most talented quarterbacks in the league already, just off pure talent. And that's why I think that pairing with Ben Johnson is going to work so well. So I'm going to take Caleb Williams here.
You did snipe me on this one. I was thinking I could maybe get him on the way back. That does not happen, unfortunately. But I do like what you're doing there. And, oh, yeah, you're back on the clock. I don't know why I thought I was on the clock all of a sudden.
Wow, okay. There's a few guys I like. Wow. You know what? I'm just going to kind of, at the point of this draft, I think that now it's a time to take a swing. I know I have Mark Andrews, but I'm just going to go ahead and take Tyler Warren because that guy seems like he might, line up at different spots or, he showed at college that he can get the ball in many different ways. And just in case in the scenario where this dude starts, lining up at running back or, almost being played like a receiver and just putting up numbers, I'm going to take a swing on that outcome and maybe something breaks through with Tyler Warren. So
that's a good pick. That's how I was going to take.
That's a really good pick. And the fact that the last 2 years, a rookie tight end has been the number one tight end, I think that's important.
Yeah.
I'm not, not saying it's going to happen again, but there's a streak.
Yeah.
For me here now, I'm going to go. I could go in the quarterback direction. Kyler Murray really bit me in the butt last year, and I feel like he has dropped far enough. But I hate doing picks where I'm kind of begrudgingly doing it because I don't love Kyler Murray. But there's got to be improvements this year, or else I think the Cardinals themselves might be looking to change things up. So I'm going to give him one more benefit of the doubt and go Kyler here.
All right. I was going to pick Tyler Warren because, again, like Parker is saying, you're going to suck. And Tyler Warren in college was doing everything. Line up in the backfield, playing fullback, even being out on receiver sometimes. I think Warren's going to have a really good year. But I'm going to take the other rookie tight end, and that is Loveland. And the reason for that, it's pretty simple. As Justin was saying earlier, the last 2 years, a rookie tight end has been one of the best tight ends in fantasy, if not the best tight end. And there's a reason why both these guys are drafted in the first round. Loveland, I think, went 7th overall, right? Or something
10th.
like that. 10th overall. Ben Johnson is not going to take the tight end with the 10th overall pick unless he's going to be heavily involved in that new offense. So I have faith that Loveland's going to be pretty good this year.
For me, I think I need another quarterback because Dak Prescott did miss, a good part of the end of the last season. So how about a guy who has a lot at his disposal there in Detroit? And let me go with Jared Goff. I think that, some people are a little down on Detroit, but I still like them. Amon-Ra St. Brown, you still got Laporta, Jameson Williams, we talked about earlier in this draft that he's going to possibly not take over from Amon-Ra, but he will still have a great season. And, we'll see what happens when these new offensive coordinators there in Detroit that Jared Goff can possibly get.
Good pick. Thought you were going to snipe me again, but you didn't. I'm looking at another quarterback myself, and I was thinking Jordan Love because he has all these weapons to throw to. I had him, I think, the last couple of years. He did me wrong last year, but I'm going to go a different route. He's a better runner, I think, than Jordan Love to my perspective. So I'm thinking Drake May is going to be my second quarterback.
Drake May. That's a good pick.
And then I'm going to go with my second tight end with one of the best offenses in the league and Dalton Kincaid.
Okay, this is where it gets very interesting and tough. But you know what? I love Rashad Bateman. I think he's going to have a great season. I need me a 5th wide receiver. And I think that Lamar is going to find him a lot this year. I think he'll have a better year than Zay Flowers in Baltimore. So let me go with Rashad Bateman. He really impressed me, really changed my opinion this past season. he caught a lot of deep touchdowns there for Lamar, and so I like him a lot there. And I think that with the dinosaur Hopkins there, it can kind of confuse some defenses. Obviously, Hopkins is still Hopkins, but I like Bateman this year.
All right, I thought you guys were going to take my pick, but I'm going to take Justin Herbert. The thing with Justin Fields is he could have a breakout year, but he also could get halfway through the year and New York Jets panic because of the Jets. So I'm going to take Herbert, which is by far their franchise. It's going to be their franchise QB, and with their new year with or second year with Jim Harbaugh, then McConkey's second year, Herbert could have a even better year than last year in that offense.
All right. Now we're up to me, and honestly, I don't love any of these guys here. There's not like a guy that's really pulling me one way or another in the 12th round here, and so I'm gonna look to back up my quarterback in Kyler Murray. I think Kyler's going to be a solid play every week, but I want to go with a guy who I've literally been all over this offseason. I think it is a little early to jump on it here, but I just don't love these other picks here. I could look to the running back well and get a handcuff. Maybe, obviously with the news with Quinshon Judkins, it hasn't been affected in the ADP wise, but I think Jerome Ford would be a guy that will probably fly up boards with the news if Judkins is going to play for the Browns. You know what? Actually, I'm gonna change course though and go with a guy who has actually opportunity to get touches day one, and it's a guy who he became the goal line back for this team last year. Although he wasn't super effective, they didn't draft any guy to really take his place, and that is Roschon Johnson. And so I'm gonna take him here.
Okay. I'm gonna also go running back, and I'm thinking back to last season. There was some smoke about the Jets at one point, maybe trading Breece Hall. And I'm not gonna, I don't know if that'll happen or not, obviously. But I also kind of think Breece Hall's in a weird point in his career. I don't know how much longer he's going to be a New York Jet. So I'm going to go ahead and take Braylon Allen and
That's
just
good.
hope that, he can find his way to get some touches. There were a few moments last year where he, got some work and had some games. So I'm going to just take a swing on Braylon Allen. And then, for me, in the scenario that Caleb Williams, maybe it doesn't quite work out the way I thought it was when I drafted him. I'm gonna grab someone to back him up, and I'm just gonna solely make this pick off how a little bit of bias. I'm just a huge fan of this guy. I'm gonna take C.J. Stroud.
I love
Yes.
CJ Stroud, of course.
Love him.
Stroud off the board.
Yeah.
Looking to me here, I'm going to go with that guy I was just kind of mentioning. I didn't say his name, but a guy who I think is going to break out this year as a starter. Obviously, essentially a rookie. I'm going to go with J.J. McCarthy.
He should have a pretty good. He hasn't played a game in the professional NFL, but he should have a good year.
I'm going to go ahead and take a handcuff and take Jalen Wright just in case A-Chain does get hurt.
There you go.
I'm gonna also. I need another running back, and I think there's a chance this guy gets some more touches other than his rookie year, and I'm going to go with Blake Corum, just in case, God forbid anything happened to Kyron Williams, but I think Blake Corum, he was really good in his days in Michigan, so.
Yeah, that was a good pick. I was looking for a running back myself. It depends if Judkins going to get hurt, if he's hurt or not. If he's going to get suspended. I'm going to go with, I know I had him last year. I picked him up. He did a few good games for me. Let me see if I can find him. Let's see here. I can't find him.
Jerome Ford, I'm assuming.
Yeah, Jerome Ford.
He got picked already.
He got taken. Oh,
He's
no
at
wonder.
52 on the running back ranking.
Oh, man. Now I'm going to have to switch up my strategy here. Let's see.
Otherwise, I was going to get him that pick. That's why I went with Corum.
Oh, yeah. You were going to snipe me again. Well, then, you know what? I know I have him. Okay, you know what? That Herbert guy that you were picking, the quarterback, Cooper, he's good. And I was thinking since William retired, I'm going to take a chance at Trey Harris. I think he's a big guy. I think he's 6'5".
He's money. He's good.
And he will do me good, I think. And I will be, let me see here. I'm going to go for a defense now. I usually don't go this early. I got my team, and I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens.
You know what? I've been eyeing this guy for a couple years. I think he went to the University of Oklahoma, and I really can't stand Sooners. But you know what? I think he's going to have a big year for Bo Nix. And I'm going to go with Marvin Mims there. I think he is a very deep sleeper there. I think he could have as good of a season as Cortland Sutton in Denver. He had some flashes last year. I think he scored in that playoff game in Buffalo in the wild card, if I'm not mistaken. It was him or it was Troy Frank, one of those. Anyways, I do like Marvin Mims this year. I think he could have a breakout year in Denver.
He was
I
the
was
one
going to
that
pick
had
him up, but I have Ingram, so I didn't.
he had the big play against the Bengals.
Bengals,
when they were
okay.
making that comeback. And yeah, I was gonna say, Cooper, you're in enemy territory. You have a Texas Longhorn fan in Genoa, and then you have an Oklahoma State fan in Parker over here, and you're a Sooner, so it's tough.
Yeah, I know. Come on. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and take my last receiver, and I'm going to take, again, I think this point in the draft, it's just about guys you think that could boom, because, I mean, at the end of the day, the guys that becomes average, you can get the same amount of value on waivers, but I'm going to take a guy, second year, team that I think will be better this year. I'm going to take Xavier Legette.
Oh, yeah, that's a good pick from that 14th round. A real good pick.
And I think, honestly, I think he will end up operating in the NFL as more of a wide receiver 2 or 3 on his team.
Yes.
I don't think he's got the ability to be a 1, and now they added Ted McMillan, so I do like that there. For me here, I could go and like round out my tight end room. I think there's a solid player there, but I'm going to do something I actually normally don't do, but I think that with the players on the board, I don't love any of them too much. So I'm going to take a guy who is the best at his position. I'm going to go with Brandon Aubrey.
For me, I'm just going to kind of take a swing on someone here. I feel like the Bills are a team that are kind of looking for someone to really emerge as like a go-to wide receiver. And, you know, I think this guy over the past few years has always been a guy who, you know, you either draft late or if he's available as a free agent, you kind of want to have, and because he, you know, he's talented and he's good. I'm gonna go Joshua Palmer. I like the fit that he could have with Josh Allen, and so I'm gonna just, you know, who knows, maybe Joshua Palmer emerges as a potential flex every now and then or something like that.
Yeah, that's a good pick.
And then let's see. Maybe is it time to go defense? Usually, no, I'm not gonna do that. You know, I'm gonna go Jalen McMillan, another wide receiver. I'm gonna just load up on the receivers. I think with McMillan, I mean, we know Godwin got hurt last year, and I think Mike Evans obviously is getting up there in age, and usually he's able to stay decently healthy. But who knows? Maybe there's just a little bit more opportunity for McMillan next year.
That is like you read my mind. I was going to take McMillan because, you know, obviously I think a lot of people are looking at him as a very unsexy pick because you're right. They have Mike Evans. They have Chris Godwin. They drafted a wide receiver in the first round and Emeka Egbuka. But there's possibilities. You laid it out mentally, so I'm just reiterating what you said. Evans is older. He missed, 4 games last year. Godwin, obviously, coming off the big injury. And then Egbuka, obviously, he's a really consistent guy. Obviously, he was a first-round pick. But what if he doesn't play out the way we think he will? And if you look at Jalen McMillan, how he ended his 2024 season from weeks 14 to 18, so the last, 5 games of the season, he was the wide receiver 7. So he was getting targets and touchdowns. And in this offense that loves to throw the rock, I think he's worth that flyer in the 16th round.
Yeah.
I had to rant because you took my player.
Yeah.
Looking at this pick here, I could go defense, but I think I'm just going to wait on that, and I'm going to take an upside swing at a tight end to kind of back up Tucker Kraft. And it's a guy who actually has been getting some Pro Bowl praise as to be a possible Pro Bowler this season, and a guy who, you know, week 1 was the story of the league and the waiver wire pickup of the week, and everybody was like all over it because he had over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns, and that is Isaiah Likely.
They took my guy.
Yeah, I like that pick. I think the last couple of years, I love Mark Andrews, obviously Oklahoma guy, but I think Isaiah Likely is so talented as a backup tight end, and he's just been waiting for his turn. Maybe this is the year that he finally beats Mark Andrews out throughout the year. But I'm going to go ahead and take my kicker, and I'm going to take a Sidewoods graduate,
Right.
Chase McLaughlin,
Oh, yeah.
Tampa
I
Bay.
love that guy. He was a baller, man. He's a baller.
So let me see. I want to snipe my uncle here in a kicker, and I got to take me a Longhorn. Hopefully he was trying. No, I'm playing. I'm going to go with Cameron Dicker here. You can never go wrong with these kickers out of University of Texas. And yeah, send it back to mom.
You didn't snipe me. I do like Dicker anyway, but I'm going to go with another running back. I think I'm short on running backs.
Oh,
I wanted Jerome Ford. They picked him up, and then I wanted his backup. What's his name? Anyway, I'm going to pick up DJ Giddens backing up Taylor. Even though Khalil Herbert's there, I think DJ's going to take some carries from him. And then I'm going to go with, of course, my last pick is a kicker. And it could be, I could just flip a coin on this one right here. Let's see here. Of course, Bates. I'm going to go with Bates. That's a no-brainer.
for me, I know they played Baltimore week 1, but they do play the Jets twice. They played the Patriots twice, which I don't know if I'm all the way excited about New England just yet. And then they do play what's the other team in that division? The Dolphins. So I like the Bills there. It gets cold November, December. And worst case scenario, I could drop one of my players at the end and maybe get a streamer defense for that week.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take my defense. I'm going to take the Lions. Aiden Hutchinson, come back. Hopefully he's able to return to the form he was before that horrible injury. I mean, last year, Lions' defense, they weren't bad. They were just destroyed with injuries. So if they can stay healthy, they can have a much better year defensively. Even though last year they weren't even bad.
I like it. With defenses here, I think I only look at who you're playing each week, and so it brings me to two defenses. I won't dive into it too long. There's the Jets. They start their season home against the Steelers. I know Aaron Rodgers is there, but maybe it's not an offense that's super potent. And I think I'm actually going to go with the second defense. Playing a division rival. They just added Von Miller to their roster, who I know he's past his prime, but he may put in some good minutes for them, so I'm going to go with the Commanders.
I'm going to take a defense here, but I just realized that with only one pick left, I forgot to draft a kicker. So Joshua Palmer, though he's on my team now, as soon as this draft ended, I'd be dropping him for a kicker. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take the defense. Like you said, Justin, normally I just draft my defense based off who they play week 1. But honestly, I haven't even looked at that stuff. And so I'm going to just take the Seahawks defense just because I really like their entire coaching staff and a lot of defensive-minded guys on that staff.
All right. Well, that concludes the draft, ladies and gentlemen. Dwayne Nation, let us know what you think. Obviously, I'll lay it out here. Fantasy Pros is telling us that Genoa had the best draft out of us, then Parker, then me, then Victor, and then Cooper. But let us know what you guys think. And the season is just getting closer and closer. And we've had a lot of mock drafts, but we also are going to start diving into sleeper picks and breakout picks and bust picks. And then, of course, our My Guys and league winners, as well as more mock drafts as we get closer, because as news happens, as the preseason starts, injuries, training camp, there's a lot of things still on the way, suspension news. So stay tuned with us, Dwayne Nation, and I hope you enjoyed the episode. And thank you also to our guest for joining us on this podcast. I know it was an hour of fun, and we hope to have you guys on soon. But yeah, thanks for watching, and Genoa, send us out.
Yo, Dwayne Nation, this was another one of our mock drafts there, a 12-man team. We had a lot of fun picking today, so go ahead and check out our other mock drafts, as we are a month and away, a couple weeks away from the season. We're so excited. But thank you guys for watching. We love y'all. And as always, peace.
Peace.